Our definition of an apprenticeship is taking somebody that has zero skills to 100% mastery to walk into an initial full service position and do that job, be work ready.
This is really kind of a unique collaboration. You can pull all these sorts of entities together and get everybody rowing in the same direction.
And what that means is that at the end of all these apprenticeship programs, we will be adding more than $10 million to our economy every year through wages.
Welcome to Talent Pipeline Georgia, a podcast brought to you by the Technical College System of Georgia. Each month, we bring business leaders, faculty, and students together to explore how TCSG's 22 colleges, 600-plus programs drive workforce development, fuel economic growth, and create pathways to success. Whether you're building a stronger team, shaping policy for the future, or preparing for the next step in your education, TCSG is your partner in progress. Visit us at tcsg.edu for more details. On this episode, we explore how Georgia's rapidly growing apprenticeship programs are connecting people to high-skilled, high-paying jobs, reflecting a 67% rise in sponsored programs and a 91% full-time placement rate. Hear firsthand from leaders and apprentices about the pathways, support, and real results that are transforming careers and fueling the state's economic growth.
Here's Brandon Ona, Executive Director of Business Engagement of the Office of Workforce Development. Brandon, I want to start with the basics here. Let's get down to brass tacks here. How do you define an apprenticeship?
So, Registered Apprenticeship Program is a U.S. Department of Labor apprenticeship model. And not only is it the national model, but it's the one that we see the most success with. And so with that, it takes somebody who may not have the right skills or maybe just starting out and kind of putting them on a paid structured pathway to a high-skilled, typically high-wage job. And it does that by combining all of the things that we know works well with a training program. So you're learning on the job, but at the same time learning in the classroom. They're receiving wage increases as the program goes on and they master skills. They're receiving credentials, the same industry-recognized credentials as their peers. But the most important piece of it to us is that there's a mentorship component, meaning they're learning from somebody who's at that company who has years of experience and knows the job well and can pour into them that experience. And then lastly, probably the most important thing for the apprentice is that it's a paid job starting on day one. So these are individuals throughout their training program that are receiving a paycheck and a certification from the U.S. Department of Labor.
Wow. I mean, the difference I heard there between an internship and even a traditional classroom program, I mean, the pay is certainly a bonus there. What's the biggest difference, though, between an apprenticeship and maybe an internship? Because it seems like you would still have the training, the mentorship, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, an internship provides real-world experience, and the classroom provides that knowledge base that you need to do your job well. The difference with an apprenticeship is it combines all of those things. So it connects the education to the experience, which allows that person to not only, know the day-to-day duties that they're doing, but the mechanics behind it, and kind of sets them up for more career advancement as time goes on.
When we do anything in life, there's usually kind of a trade of value, right? Why am I doing this? What kind of value am I getting out of it? So let's talk about the value that both students and job seekers are gaining, especially when it comes to employers here.
Typically when we think of career success, we think of it in terms of a linear progression, right? You go to school, you get an entry-level job, you may, get some more training or more experience, and eventually you'll find yourself in that pathway to that high-paying job. An apprenticeship completely flips that around, and it provides a direct pathway to that high-skilled, high-paying job throughout the course of their program. And so for apprentices, the value is quite immediate, right? You not only are training, but you're receiving a paycheck, and you know where you're going in your career and what steps you need to take. And for employers, it tends to be quite transformational because for them, they're training and building talent to their own company, to their own culture and their own processes. And at the end of it, they're getting somebody who is far more likely to stay with that company and is more likely to be more productive and advance their career within that company. But the other winner that we often talk about, here at the Technical College System of Georgia is Georgia's economy. When employers are able to, invest more in their workers and workers can, earn more, you will feel that in your local community, because you'll have stronger businesses, workers that are far more resilient. And so the value is not just, for that apprentice, for that program. It's a long-term value for all of us.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's much like, you're investing into that individual with the mentorship and the training and really molding them to fit that position that you're looking for and creating an asset for your company here. This is an important question. What role does the technical college system of Georgia play in supporting apprenticeship programs statewide?
So the technical college system of Georgia, right, is kind of Georgia's workforce development engine. We have 22 colleges, 88 campuses, 30 plus career centers, and we, have an impact on Georgia across all of its 159 counties. What that means for apprenticeship is that each one of our technical colleges serve as a registered apprenticeship sponsor, meaning small to medium-sized businesses primarily have access to apprenticeship where they may not necessarily have that without us. If you think about a small to medium-sized company here in Georgia, generally speaking, they offer great jobs and great opportunities for advancement. Collectively, they're one of the largest, or they are the largest employer of Georgians. But when you're looking internally at the infrastructure, they may not have a team of HR. They may not have a team of talent and development to start and create this registered apprenticeship program. But that's where we step in. We can work with them to not only develop and get their program approved with the U.S. Department of Labor, but we can also provide the instructional training that goes along with it, and instructional training that is designed and adapted to their specific needs as a company. And so our role is kind of providing that full suite of services for our business community and making sure that no matter where you are in Georgia, if you have an in-demand job, a good-paying job that has a skills gap, we can help you create and establish and expand a registered apprenticeship program.
That's wonderful. Georgia has seen major growth in apprenticeships lately. Give me a couple quick stats and examples that show how big this movement has become.
Since 2022, when Governor Kemp signed into law what is now the high demand apprenticeship program, we've seen historic investments in registered apprenticeships, both from the state level and the federal level. And the results speak for themselves. Generally, since that time, TCSG sponsored apprentices has increased 67%. And the number of employers that we work with through our colleges has expanded to hundreds of employers. And specifically, if we're looking at the high demand apprenticeship program, let's take this year. This year, we're investing more than $1 million of state funds into this program, primarily designed to meet the needs of employers. And what we will see from that is wage increases of going from $18 an hour to more than $27 an hour. And what that means is that at the end of all these apprenticeship programs, we will be adding, just this year alone, more than $10 million to our economy every year through wages. And so that's a return that's not just felt, immediately, but it's a return that is going to be felt long term and is only slated to grow as these apprentices continue to advance their careers.
So clearly a huge impact to the economy, which, as we know in today's world, the economy is something that's kind of volatile at times, right? And a lot of folks looking for jobs out there. I love the wage increases. I love that it's grown at, you said 67%. That is huge. And it really sounds like a great program to give back to the individual that's investing the time to become an asset in the work world. And Brandon, that's such crucial information. And I appreciate you spending time with us here today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Here's Karen Kirchler, Deputy Commissioner of the Office of Workforce Development. From a statewide perspective, how is Georgia supporting apprenticeships through policy and funding? There's got to be some money behind this.
Yeah, there certainly is a lot of funding and policy behind it from a state level. Just as Brandon mentioned, he spoke about the high demand apprenticeship program. So there was some legislation passed in 2022 that provided for an allocation to incentivize employers. And that's what he was speaking to in terms of the impact, the return on investment impact that we'll see from those funds. Those like $1.2 million that's going to go out to employers to incentivize them to increase and expand apprenticeships, what the starting wages for those apprentices will be, and then the ending wages. That's what he was referring to. So that legislation really kind of kicked off a lot of what was going on in the state in terms of state support with apprenticeships. Over the last couple of years, that legislation has been slightly amended. to increase public sector apprenticeship programs to really support our municipalities, our school districts, and so forth in their development of apprenticeship programs to get more individuals into kind of public servant roles. It really facilitates the opportunities that those municipalities have and those school districts have to increase engagement with individuals who might not otherwise think about careers, but they can see them as a career pathway through the implementation of those apprenticeships. So there's that legislation. And then all of that has kind of tied into what's called the Top State for Talent initiative. So that legislation was passed this past year. And the intention behind the Top State for Talent is that Georgia's been the top state to do business in for like the last 12 years. And Governor Kemp's vision is that, well, in order to remain the top state to do business in, we have to be the top state producing talent. And so the intention behind this legislation is to really unify efforts on the workforce development front from the secondary system all the way through to our post-secondary system, our USG schools, as well as our technical colleges and so forth, to make sure that everybody's rowing in the same direction to really facilitate the development of career pathways for individuals and even job seekers who are perhaps, 18 and over out of the school system to create opportunities such as registered apprenticeships for them to kind of enter into the talent pipeline at a level that's really going to continue to support Georgia's premier employers, not just premier employers, but kind of backbone employers for the state that are really facilitating the economic success of the state. So the Top State for Talent initiative has been something that through the Office of Workforce Development, we're really working to align our efforts. And one of the ways that we align those efforts is through specifically our administration of registered apprenticeships.
And the legislation that you're speaking of here, Karen, is the SB 379. You talk about that, and of course, with Governor Kemp's Top State for Talent. So, they're making big moves here. And if you can, give me some examples of how state agencies they're working together to scale these programs.
Well, the governor's been very, very proactive and intentional about this in terms of bringing together a committee. It's the Workforce and Education Strategy Committee. And that includes representation from University System of Georgia, Georgia Student Finance Commission, Department of Education, so our secondary systems, obviously technical college system in terms of our tech ed programs and our non-credit training programs, but then also through our office, the Office of Workforce Development. And then this year, we're incorporating the Georgia Department of Labor as part of that strategy committee. This is really kind of a unique committee and collaboration because I've not seen it a lot around the nation in which you can pull all these sorts of entities together and get everybody rowing in the same direction. So the initial push was Georgia Match, in which all high school graduates receive a letter indicating where they've been accepted to college. And then second from that became the high demand career list, which basically allows us to all point to a single source of truth to say, if you're going to develop a new program as a training provider, the secondary level or at the post-secondary level, you want it to be aligned to this list because this list represents where we see economic growth and job projections with good wages around the state. So we've all worked together to develop these lists, and we're all utilizing these lists to inform our programming, our discretionary grant funding activities, and certainly it drives the high demand apprenticeship program. So I think those are some really good examples of the collaboration and the focus that these key entities that are engaged in talent pipeline development are using to really drive our efforts.
Yeah, it seems like everyone's really working together, really teamwork for success. And apprenticeships, they're no longer limited to just manufacturing or construction. What other industries are now part of Georgia's apprenticeships landscape?
Oh my goodness. We're in healthcare. There are from medical assistants to nursing types of apprenticeships. There's EMT and paramedic types of apprenticeships. We're in teaching. A lot of teacher apprenticeships. Those are really kind of booming and expanding. The Department of Education is doing a lot of good work there. Municipalities are utilizing apprenticeships for firefighting, also for wastewater technicians and so forth. Cybersecurity, IT, obviously all the trades, right? Construction, electrical, HVAC. So pretty broadly distributed around the state.
Yeah, it seems like there's a broad array of opportunities, and that's the good thing about it. Is if you're going into healthcare, if you're going into, as you talked about here, cybersecurity. I mean, that is huge. It's a great opportunity for folks out there. How are innovation and partnerships helping expand these opportunities statewide?
Well, in terms of partnership, I would say that the genius behind some of the top state for talent legislation and the work of the governor's workforce and strategy team is that it really facilitates partnership. And so everybody's kind of seeing what one another is doing and then are able to kind of raise their hand and say, "Oh, hey, we have this part over here. Let us help with that." And then we can collaborate over here and let us do this component of it. So from the technical college standpoint, we have the Office of Workforce Development that sits at the system office level. We facilitate a lot of things, but we work directly with our colleges and other training providers and sponsors. And then they may be working directly with school systems and or employers. So it's kind of a chain effect, a sort of a daisy chain of collaboration, if you will. And the nice thing about it is that the icing on the top of that collaboration is incentive funding that will either support and offset the cost of training or go directly to employers who are, trying to expand apprenticeships. And there is some cost involved in that. And so I think the policy and then the alignment of funding with the policy is really what's kind of driving that push towards expansion of apprenticeships.
You talked about the icing on the cake. I think the cherry on the top is that there's only one direction to go from here, and it's up. So let's look at the future of apprenticeships here in Georgia. What does it look like for both students and employers?
I think as long as we can continue to really drive awareness around the benefit of apprenticeships and continue to help employers understand that there aren't a lot of barriers to it, right? There's some work that's involved in it, but what the return on investment for an employer is, I think that, the future of apprenticeships is pretty bright. And it's an excellent model. It's an excellent model for employee retention among employers. And that's a huge thing that they're facing. There's such tight competition for talent. So if they can recognize that they can utilize this model and they can get support in the utilization of it, I think we can continue to really grow apprenticeships exponentially. I got to give credit to Brandon and his team. The work that we've done over the last 3 years has really seen just some significant growth. And that's been undergirded, right, by the policy and the funding that's been put in place by the state. So I think as long as those opportunities remain, we can continue to grow apprenticeships throughout the state. I don't see an end in sight necessarily. I don't think there's a cap on that opportunity.
Yeah, no, I mean, it looks like the future is bright, kind of what you're saying, lots of opportunity. And one of my favorite parts is that you're literally giving these individuals a pathway to success. It's not just like you're throwing resumes out there, trying to get a job, competing with all these different talents. You are being molded into whatever profession you choose, and you're being molded into creating that better future for yourself through this program. Karen, what's the biggest takeaway that you hope listeners remember from today's conversation?
That there's plenty of opportunities for job growth, career pathways, and support in the development of those. So whether you're a job seeker or you're a student or, a parent of a student, to be aware that there are resources to tap into and there are some great opportunities. And you don't need to just look for a job. You ought to have an eye towards a career. And for employers, I would say just to know that there are models out there like registered apprenticeships and their support for the development of those models that will really facilitate your long-term talent acquisition and retention. And we're here to be of service, and please call us. Take advantage of us.
You're reading my mind because I know there's a lot of folks out there listening to this going, I need more information. This sounds amazing for myself or maybe somebody I know. Karen, how do they get in touch with you to get more information and most importantly, to get started?
If you go to the TCSG website, it's going to be our Apprentice Georgia webpage. And there's a contact us opportunity there. And we return all of our emails.
And again, if you're wanting to get more information or get involved, you can always visit the TCSG website. That's tcsg.edu/apprentice. Karen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I am here with Boo Boo Roberts, SRS Apprenticeship School Program Manager. Now, that is a mouthful, Boo Boo. Welcome. Tell me a little bit about your position and the program that you are head of.
Well, thank you for having me. First of all, I appreciate the opportunity to share our company's wonderful opportunity for apprentices. Back in 2020, my partner and I, Dr. Dorian Newton, we were tasked by the company and the Department of Energy and NNSA to come up with a workforce solution to meet our workforce demand. We had a high attrition rate, and then we had new missions at the site. And so we worked together to create our apprenticeship program, which is now known as the SRS Apprenticeship School. In 2020, when we started out with one program. It was the SRNS, Savannah River Nuclear Solution Nuclear Operator Apprenticeship Program. And we have now to date grown to 29 apprenticeship programs that is divided into 3 pathways. We have what we call our Key Skilled Technician Apprenticeship Program. We have our Professional Degree-Based Apprenticeship Program, and we have a Youth Apprenticeship Program. And Key Skilled, an example of that type of program, is like your nuclear operator, your radiation protection technician, your electrical and instrumentation mechanic, your maintenance mechanic. And then the Professional Degree-Based Apprenticeship Program, examples of those are more like your mechanical engineer, your nuclear weapons engineer. It could be a chemical engineer, a civil engineer, procurement, logistics, opportunities like that. And then our youth apprenticeship programs, right now, currently, we have 5, and they cover your EMS firefighter youth apprentice. You could be anything IT youth apprentice, records management apprentice. We have financial analyst. We also have project controls. So we have 29 programs that offer an amazing opportunity to the people in our community.
Wow. I mean, yeah, lots of opportunities there across the board. I mean, I love that you guys have divided it into 3 different sections, everything from, an operator on the tech side, all the way to, you said, professional. And then the youth opportunity is really interesting. But the EMS, the firefighter, the IT is, as we know, is blowing up in the world with AI. So these are all great opportunities. So essentially, you were tasked with finding a workforce solution. That is what brought you to being a part of this registered apprenticeship program. Is that correct?
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. So how has the partnership with the college benefited your company? I can imagine with all these opportunities, it's got to be huge.
Oh, it and it's invaluable. So partnering, like for an example, with Augusta Tech, it just really adds dimension to our program. They're essential to the program. The college delivers a strong academic foundation that complements our hands-on and site-specific training. Their faculty are so knowledgeable and aligned with our industrial needs. And then for this collaboration, too, it ensures that the apprentices arrive on our site ready to go to work in the workforce, prepared, confident, and equipped with the fundamental knowledge that they need to be successful. The technical schools provide 9 fundamental courses for the nuclear operators. For an example, we're just using that program as a base to talk about today. So they're very instrumental, and they help with that success.
Yeah, when you talk about being instrumental, and really it's a partnership, a relationship that you're having with these academic industries. And also, you talked about so that these individuals are ready to jump into that position. And I think I recall seeing that the program spans 530 hours over an intensive 7-month period. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So basically, we've integrated an onboarding structure so that the program is actually for nuclear operators 8 months long. We onboard with our company first, then we onboard with the technical college. We use a rotating shift type of block schedule to where a month they attend the technical college, they take 2 of the 9 courses. The next month, they are actually at the site, they're doing site training courses, and they're beginning to get into the facility and learn what they're going to be doing and what they need to know about their facility. Then they come back to the technical college, they take a couple more courses, so it rotates back and forth for 8 months. At the end of 8 months, they graduate and they receive 2 certificates. They receive a certificate from Augusta Technical College showing that they've completed those courses and the hours that can actually be put towards a degree later on if they choose to continue their education. And then they get a second certificate from the Department of Labor, which is a national recognized credential that's portable. They can go anywhere. And that's basically leading into our founding principles. When we decided to build this program, we operate off of what we call the 3 Ps: pay, paper, and position. So the apprenticeship offers an opportunity to train them in the fundamental knowledge. It offers the on-the-job training, the experience that they need. When they complete that, they get the certificates, and then the certificate leads to a full-time position.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. You're setting these individuals up for success, giving them all the tools from the book smarts to hands-on, which is huge, literally leading them to a door of a full-time job, which in today's world, that's absolutely incredible. So let's talk about how the apprenticeship program has impacted your company's productivity and workforce development. What type of percentage of impact has it had?
Well, the apprenticeship program has had a measurable positive impact. It accelerates workforce readiness by allowing us to train individuals specifically for their specific roles that the company is in need of. Apprentices leave our program with a solid nuclear foundation and has the actual hands-on practical experience, allowing them to transition seamlessly to the next phase of training in the facility. This also affords the company and boosts our retention rates. Employees who come through the apprenticeship tend to stay longer because they feel invested, supported, and connected to our mission. Long term, this allows us to strengthen the workforce stability, the productivity, and the leadership pipeline. Since 2020, we have had over 880 apprentices with a 91% transition from the apprenticeship program to the full service positions in their discipline that they're working towards.
Wow, those are staggering numbers there. A 91% transition rate. I mean, guys, that's unheard of.
Yes, it is, especially when you have the opportunity. And here's something I haven't mentioned yet. These apprentices in the key skilled technician pathway, they don't pay anything out of their pocket. We utilize federal and state funding, and we partner with our technical colleges to allow them to have this opportunity. Now, the company, they pay their wages while they go through this, which goes back to the 3 Ps: pay, which is a scalable wage, and before they actually complete the program, they get a raise.
What? Okay, I got to tell you, this is sounding almost too good to be true. I want to make sure I'm hearing you right here. So the program it's federally funded. So let's use me for instance. There's nothing out of my pocket here. You're giving me all the skills from book to hands-on to the resources. And also the transition rate is already positive at 91%. And I'm going to get a raise when I walk through the door. Did I sum all that up?
Well, for nuclear operators, they get their first raise 6 months into the program.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh, Boo Boo, this is amazing.
Oh, yes.
This is
Yeah,
incredible.
you take someone, we've had anyone from being 18 years old up to 64 years old come into this program.
Oh, wow.
And they're starting at the $31, $32 mark an hour to learn this discipline to go be productive. And this is not a job. This is really a great opportunity for a career that may start with one discipline and open up to a variety of opportunities, from being techs to being engineers to being work planners to being management.
Wow, I want to hit on something you just brought up here. It's when you hear apprenticeship, a lot of folks think, oh, that's for the young people that don't know what they're doing, or maybe just out of college. But from what you're saying, 18 to, I believe you said 64, which in this day and age, people are changing careers faster and faster. They're staying maybe there 2 years, 5 years. Or if you're on that later, part of that scale, though, they're 60 to 64, maybe you are forced into a potential retirement, but you're not ready to retire. And you're thinking, I have more gas in my tank. I want to do something else. This is another opportunity for you.
Yes, it is. Our company does not discriminate, no way, shape, or form. That opportunity, if you meet the minimum requirements to come into the program and you are very marketable and present yourself well in the interview and they choose you, opportunities is endless out there. The Savannah River site is approximately 200,000 acres of land, which is our number we normally use is 310 square miles of territory. And between all the contractors that work out at the site, we're probably now pushing close to 14,000 people that work out there. And essentially, it is anything that a small city would need to operate. We need that out at the Savannah River site. We have our own medical department, doctors and nurses.
Wow.
We have our law enforcement. We have groundkeeping. We have infrastructure, heavy equipment. We have all the technical positions. We have procurement, logistics, warehouse. I mean, anything that a small city needs, we have out there. So there are a lot of opportunities. And our vice presidents right now, the magic number they're sharing within the next 5 to 10 years, we need to hire, I believe it's about 5,000 people.
Wow, that's huge.
And as the mission grows, the new mission that we have out there, that number could increase. Even the number of apprenticeship programs that we have in the next 2 years, there's going to be more apprenticeship programs created to meet that workforce challenge.
Wow, that's incredible. You mentioned minimum requirements. Is there a way to kind of give our listeners a little scope of what that is?
So to break that down, because we have 3 pathways. The first pathway is your key skilled technician. There is a system that evaluates your readiness, your aptitude. It's called Work Key Skill Assessment Test. And then there is also what we call South Carolina Wind Assessment Test. So there is, depending on the discipline and the program that you're trying to enter into, there is a set test with a score that you have to meet. And we have 29 programs, so I don't want to go through each one of them. But as an example, a work key would be like graphic literacy, which is reading comprehension, maybe applied math, applied technology. They're checking the aptitude to see, are you teachable? Do you meet a certain score that shows you're teachable to come into the nuclear industry?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great to know. Again, depending on which path you choose, the requirements and the testing could be a little different. So that's something you can get more details about when you go to, of course, apply to be a part of this program. You touched on the fact that the future looks bright for this apprenticeship program, right? Lots of expansion, lots of growth, lots of opportunity. And as we know, with anything with great success, there has to be some challenges along the way. So what kind of challenges have you faced in working with this program? And most importantly, how are they addressed and overcome?
So one of the challenges that I don't mind sharing, of course, when you create a program and you're trying to launch this program, you're going to have quite a few challenges. I mean, that is just a part of developing something. But one of the challenges was aligning academic training timelines with our operational schedules and qualification requirements. So we had to work closely with Augusta Technical College or any technical school that we partner with, of course, our team, to streamline the communication, We had to synchronize our calendars. We also had to ensure the curriculum that has a certain standard set in the nuclear industry was able to be taught by Augusta Tech. And of course, all that we overcome. We aligned our programs, we aligned our standards, and we have that great communication, that collaboration between Augusta Tech and ourselves to ensure that when other challenges arise, we're right there on a day-to-day basis working hand in hand with each other to mitigate any challenges that arises. We also had another challenge involving helping apprentices adapt to the rigor of a nuclear environment. Our environment is not a typical environment. It's not going to work at Publix. It's not going to work in other industries. Our industry, the nuclear industry, is very unique. So we had to enhance our mentoring support, increase touch points with our program leads, and we had to provide early intervention when students needed additional resources, like if they weren't able to grasp and understand the material being taught, we had to step in and provide them a tutor. We had to offer that avenue for them to be successful, because our goal is taking an apprenticeship. Our definition of an apprenticeship is taking somebody that has zero skills to 100% mastery to walk into an initial full service position and do that job, be work ready. Now, you can always take someone that comes in with 20% or 30%, and they're actually going to be a benefit to the cohort of apprentices because they can bring, like someone that's 30 or 40-year-old, they can bring their skills and their talents and share that with somebody that's 18 coming right out of high school.
Yeah, I mean, really, again, kind of scales from having absolutely no skills or a little bit. And I would be unjust if I didn't go back to something you mentioned here about having that unique work environment. What do you mean by that?
Our work environment, we definitely deal with material that could be classified, the process could be classified. And due to the nature of what we do at the Savannah River site, there are requirements like you've got to be able to be drug-free. You have to be fit for duty. Fit for duty can entail many different things. It could go from just a proper night of sleep to making sure that you're drug-free. It could also entail our safety culture. Our safety out there is like number one priority. We definitely want each employee to go home the way they come. And the work that we do, you have to pay close attention. You have to be diligent. You have to be intentional, and you have to work by procedure. And so we have to ensure that, the individuals that are getting trained in the apprenticeship is ready to take on those challenges by walking into a workforce that's different. You can't even just go see these type of, environments. It's different. It's very different.
Yeah, it sounds like it is, but it sounds like a great opportunity as well.
It's amazing.
Yes, it does sound amazing. For employers that are interested and maybe considering participating in this program, what advice would you give them?
My advice would be to fully embrace the partnership with TCSG, the partnership with how you're going to include community partners to create your apprenticeship program. I fully recommend it. It was one of the most proudest things that I've accomplished in my life. Building and creating an apprenticeship program, it's a win-win. It is going to be a win for the company, it is going to be a win for the employee, and it is going to be a win for the community. In the community, you could partner with your technical colleges, your universities. You can partner with your local funding resource avenues, like, for an example, the Department of Labor, the CSRA Regional Commission we partner with, TCSG we partner with. It's just an awesome opportunity that the federal government is now supporting 100%, and they're wanting more apprenticeship programs. It's such a win-win opportunity to get in and help an individual have that employment opportunity that provides economic return. Because if you're invested in an individual that lives in a certain area, they're going to stay in that area, and then they're going to turn around and support that area. So it's such a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And speaking of winning, give me a good example of a success story of an apprentice who has thrived in your company.
So we've actually got several success stories with having 880 apprentices complete the program.
That alone is a big success, yeah.
But one of our poster employees, he was a gentleman that came into our youth apprenticeship program under the records management program. He was 17 years old. He stayed with us about 2 years. As he was working, we were teaching him, we were mentoring him, and he had offers from colleges once he graduated high school to go off to college. But he decided that that was not right for him at the time, and he had some personal goals. And so he looked into our nuclear operator program, and he got hired in as a nuclear operator apprentice. And he completed that program, went on to become a qualified nuclear operator. And to date, from the age of 17 to the age of 22, the gentleman transitioned from a youth apprentice to an adult apprenticeship program, and he has gotten married. He's had his first child. He bought a house, and his overall goal was he wanted a brand new pickup truck.
Hey, it's good to have goals, right?
So by the age of 22, these opportunities has afforded that individual an opportunity to reach his goals that he set, at a very young age.
That's a wonderful success story. This program sounds absolutely amazing. And if folks want to get more information, Boo Boo, where can they go?
We have an email that is srsapprenticeshipschool@srs.gov. It's srsapprenticeshipschool@srs.gov. If they're wanting more information, please feel free to reach out to us. We have actual flyers for each of the pathways, the 3 pathways that we have. The flyers that we can email you back actually tell you what the minimum requirements is for each of the programs, how to apply, how to get involved, and what each of the program, how it's structured. And then, of course, we can always communicate via phone line, landline, cell line, whatever the right word is nowadays. So bleep that out.
That's amazing. I love that response. Message in a bottle, whatever you need. That's amazing. Well, Boo Boo Roberts, again, Apprenticeship School Program Manager of SRS. Man, I appreciate you joining us. Congratulations on all the success, and can't wait to see where you guys go from here.
Well, we appreciate you guys having us here and allowing us to share our amazing opportunities that we have. So thank you kindly for inviting us to be on your show.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I am here with Cam. He is new to the program, just here a couple months here. And Cam, why did you initially decide to join the Registered Apprenticeship Program? What led you to the doors here?
Well, I actually worked at SRS for about a year before the applications for my specific position opened up. I was construction for Savannah River Mission Completion, which is more waste management. And I enjoyed being out there in the nuclear facility, and I really enjoyed the nuclear aspects of it, and I thought that was really interesting. I didn't so much enjoy the trade aspect of what I was doing at the time. So I was checking job listings like all the time. Just trying, I wanted to stay out there and do something else nuclear, but just not specifically construction. So as soon as opening for the operator apprentice got listed, I hopped on it immediately. And I found out my uncle actually worked at Tritium, which is where I will be going, as an operator as well. So, it was really easy for me to kind of talk to him about it and ask him a couple of questions. And kind of dive right in.
I love that. Keeping it in the family. That's amazing. And as I mentioned here, you've been with the program just a couple of months here. How would you describe your experience so far? Has it been easy? Is it harder than you expected? Is it better than you ever thought it would be?
I'd say for me specifically, it's been about difficulty wise, it's about what I was expecting. As far as like site training goes, a lot of it is stuff that I've already taken since I was already out there before. So most of this is just kind of refreshing things for me. So there's not been too much friction for me as far as that goes. But I think more people can do it than they think they can. I think, not to say that it's particularly easy or not challenging enough, but I think maybe people might be intimidated by it being at a nuclear facility or that sounding scary. But I think a lot more people can do this.
No, I agree with you. I think people hear nuclear and they go, whoa, that is beyond my scope.
Right.
I don't even know how to spell it, much less do it. So that's interesting you brought that up. You kind of an interesting case here because you talked about you already had some of those skills. It's more so about refreshing them, maybe fine-tuning them. But what's a new skill that you've learned through the program?
You know, a lot of what we're going to be dealing with at the facility that I'm going to actually has to deal with fluids, like gases and liquids, which is not at all what I worked with whenever I was construction. So there's a lot more as far as that goes that I'm learning, and more about like the actual processes that I'm learning. Because as a construction worker, you know, I didn't get paid to know how the facilities actually operated. I got paid to build things, you know, repair a couple of things. But being operations, we get to actually learn how things work and why things work and kind of how things lead into each other, which is awesome to me, which is exactly what I wanted out of this.
Yeah, I mean, understanding really kind of both sides of the road there. How does it work? Why does it work? Where do I fit in? How can I make it better? And again, you are part of this apprenticeship program really due to the support from the employer and of course, the college. So how has that collaboration helped you succeed?
I'd say it's been nice to go to the colleges and kind of get refreshers on more, I guess, all-encompassing subjects that we wouldn't be learning out on site specifically. So, you know, at Augusta Tech, we've been working on applied math and physics and chemistry and that sort of stuff, which definitely pertains to the job that we're going to be doing. But that sort of stuff, you know, isn't taught on site. On site is more qualification based, things like that. A lot more specific things like a confined space or radiological worker. So it's been good to kind of get a refresher on subjects that maybe people might have gone over in high school or maybe some college, because it will pertain to the job that you're leading into 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. They literally give you all the tools on a silver platter and go, here you go, learn it, do it, and be the best at it. What kind of challenges have you faced during your time here with the apprenticeship? And then again, I ask this, it's so important. How did you overcome these challenges?
I'd say, again, the main source of friction so far has just been the amount of classes that we have. I mean, it's an exam almost every week. It's a lot of studying. It's a lot of note taking. And I think the thing that has been wonderful about it is every person in this group, we're all taking these classes together. All of us are wanting each other to succeed. So we've been helping each other a lot as far as that goes. I mean, if someone's falling behind, the group will come together and make sure they understand what they're falling behind on, that sort of thing. So I'd say that's definitely how you can kind of overcome anything in this program, is using your peers.
Cam, it's been wonderful talking with you. I know you're new to the program, but you're going to soar through this thing, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Welcome, everybody. I'm joined by Chanter. She has completed this apprenticeship program that we have been talking about. I mean, this amazing program and opportunity that's available to you. Chanter, welcome. How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I am doing amazing, learning so much about this opportunity. I was telling you just before we came on the air here that I know people that are trying to figure out what they're trying to do with their life. And I listen to you and Cam and Boo Boo, and I go, I got to get them here. I got to get them in this program.
You should.
I mean, it's a crazy, amazing opportunity. And you graduated from this program in 2023, so you have been there for quite some time. Tell me a little bit about your journey. You know, how did you initially decide to join the program? And of course, what everyone wants to know is, what was that journey like, and where did it land you to today?
I always wanted to work with SRNS since growing up. And because I worked at different places, I worked at Bridgestone and different faculties. And I wanted a career-based opportunity. And so when I heard about the apprenticeship program, I jumped on it. Like, okay, I got to go back to school. Okay, I've been out of school for like 17 years, but I can do it. So when I heard about it, I jumped on it and I applied and I got called. And it's been challenging, at first because going back to school, learning physics and math and doing numbers and having to make a good grade, and like, okay, I've done it a long time and I have kids. But it was awesome. Like, I don't regret any of it. Meeting new people, again, different age groups from 18 to, mid-age and older than me, 60 years old. And we're all getting together and studying together and comparing notes. It was awesome. And we were always passing and, again, eating out. We ate so much. I gained so much weight. Also, we ate out every day. But learning people that I'm working with now was amazing because we have relationships. We have group chats that we text in, when we're off work about, what we're going to do when we have time or if we have time, learning their kids. So building another family. And I'm big on teamwork. So it is awesome.
Hey, as the old adage says, teamwork makes the dream work. And that seems to be really kind of the underlying theme I keep hearing is everyone's in this journey together. You, your classmates, your teammates, however you want to view it. So studying together, learning maybe how do you memorize this or how did this click in your brain and working together, studying together seems to be the key to getting closer to that success line. And I know with the education there, it's books and then it's hands-on. How do you feel like that combination helps you be successful?
So being hands-on, because again, when you hear the word nuclear, you don't know what you're getting yourself into because, again, a lot of stuff is classified. So now that I'm working in the facility, I know what I'm doing. I didn't go in like from day one I asked questions, but I still had a feel of what I was going to be doing, what I was going to be touching. Again, our job is really, really important. It can be dangerous if you're not safe and if you're not listening or you're not understanding what you're doing, because again, it's procedure driven. So classroom work and also on the job work hands in hand.
Yeah, I mean, the left hand has to know what the right hand's doing. And I know there's a lot of information, we've talked about this before, that was kind of classified. So it's almost like you have half of the equation before you finally get that opportunity to go, oh, now I get why I was doing X, Y, and Z because it's this. So there's always something leading up to understanding the full scope of everything. And just a few moments ago, you were talking about one of the biggest challenges was going back to school. And listen, like a lot of folks out there, gosh, I haven't been in school in 20 plus years. So the fact of just the idea of going back is overwhelming, much less learning possibly new material or having to review something I did 30 years ago can be overwhelming. But how would you say the support from both the employer and the college helped you succeed?
It helped a lot. It helped a whole lot because with them both together, it put me in a position where it kept me on track. Because being on track is a big deal out there. Making sure I maintain a passing grade because you have to pass. And I didn't want to be left behind. And I was getting paid also. It was challenging because having kids in school, and I was also in school too. So that was a challenge because I'm helping with their homework and they're also helping with my homework, things that I forgot. So it's like, it went hand in hand.
Everyone's at the kitchen table doing homework. I love that. But you're getting paid. That's even better.
Yes.
That's important to point out. So it might be scary to go back to school and think, how do I manage this? I'm married. I have kids. I have this. I have that. Well, you're getting a paycheck, guys. So you're essentially being paid to educate yourself for a better future is what I hear.
That's correct.
Wow, that's amazing. And look at you, flying colors. Everyone passed their grade, your kids and you. And look at you now.
That's right. We did.
That's amazing. How do you think that this program is going to impact your future career? I mean, you've been doing this for a couple years now. So where do you see the future?
So I see the future management. I would love to be in management. I would love to be an instructor, honestly, because I want to be able to teach people what I know, what I learned, and the struggles I've went through learning. Like, maybe, everything don't have to be done a certain way. Sometimes you can do something a different way because we all have different learning abilities and ways of learning. So I would love to be able to help somebody else learn my job, to put the skills together from schoolwork and from job work, put it together to be a good employee at Savannah Riverside.
Yeah, that's amazing. You're exactly right. Everyone learns differently, and 9 times out of 10, there's a couple different ways to get to the same result. So that I think is important as well. You want to be in management. You want to help mold other folks through this program to make it bigger and better and give them opportunity. That's an amazing goal that you have for yourself. We talked about the future, where you want to be as far as management. Let's take a look in the rearview mirror for a minute. What has been your most memorable moment or even achievement from the apprenticeship program?
I started in May 1st to be exact. A week later, my house caught on fire.
Stop.
Yes, so I was leaving class, headed towards home. It was a bad storm that day, and I get a phone call from the ADT saying that my house is on fire. So rushing home, and I was up all night because it took a while for them to put the fire out. It was an electrical fire. So being up from that morning, I had to get up at 4 a.m. and laying down that next morning, like 12 a.m. I still got up. I went to Walmart, got me some clothes. We lost everything. I got more
Oh my
clothes.
gosh.
And the next day, I went to school. And I pondered in my mind, should I go or should I not go to school? But I was trying to be an example for my kids, let them know, hey, you don't stop here. Like, things get thrown at you, lemons get thrown, you make lemonade. And so I got up the next morning, that same morning, and I went to school. And I let my instructor know and my advisor know, hey, look, my house burnt down, but I'm here, and I'm here to learn because this is what I want to do. And they were so amazed, and they were just so big arms wide open to giving me hugs and talk. And I didn't want the attention, to somebody to feel like bad for me, but it's like a family out there. Managers I never met because I was freshly new there. They came, they sat with me, they cried with me.
Oh my gosh.
They met my kids. They took up donations for me. Like, it was amazing. I felt like they were part of my family, and they are a part of my family because I'm still here. And when I see them, I acknowledge them. Miss Boo Boo was so caring, so helpful. I'm almost about to cry now because it's so amazing how people you don't know come together and help and look out for you and your family. So that was very memorable for me, and that's why I want to be here. I want to retire here.
Oh my gosh, you're not kidding. Well, I mean, first of all, I am so sorry about your home. I'm glad that you and your family are safe. And listen, that is, I don't know how anyone could feel like, I'm lazy, I don't feel good, I have a headache, I don't want to go to school. I mean, you got up literally after your home burnt down, went to school, continued on the path to success. If that doesn't say determination, grit, and confidence and positivity, I don't know what does. My gosh. So when you wake up and you think you're having a bad day, just remember Shantae here, who got up after her home burnt down. So no excuses out there, folks. For people that are thinking, I maybe want to do this program, what's your advice to them?
Go for it. Don't let anything get in your way. Go for it. Whatever you got going on, set it to the side. Give it to God and go for it because it is worth it. I am able to support my family. I don't feel like if I go to work tomorrow, I won't have a job. My job feels like family. I feel like I'm going home to my second home. And working, it is a second home because you're there more time of preparing to go there more than your home. And I go to work and it's how you doing, how your day was, and we're going to get this job done together right the first time. Take our time, ask questions, go for it. Do not hesitate. Don't let school stop you. It's challenging, but it's not that hard. I promise you. It's very comical when you're dealing with people, your peers, people that you haven't met before, different attitudes, different races, shapes, sizes. I enjoyed my my time. I honestly did. I gained a lot of weight too, but I enjoyed it.
Hey, listen, you gained a lot of weight because you guys went out to celebrate so much because you guys were doing so amazing working together. And something that you said here, you don't worry about losing your job, but you have the stability of that great paycheck. You can support your family, great opportunity. And speaking of family, you have a second family there, and that is huge. You're working with individuals that you feel support you and have your back, and they're friends, they're family. That says a lot. It's more so about the people you work with than where you work, that a lot of people stay. And like you said, you want to retire there. I think I can see that happening. I mean, Shantae, thank you so much. I wish you all the great success, and I have no doubt you're going to be in that management role sooner rather than later.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Talent Pipeline Georgia, a podcast brought to you by the Technical College System of Georgia. Visit us at tcsg.edu for more details. The Technical College System of Georgia. Meaningful careers start here.